Welcome back to Success at Success. I'm your host, Kyle Mauch, here with my co-host, Kevin Donahue. And today we're sitting down with Josh Rosen and Michael Morelli. Josh, if you can introduce yourself, what you do, and a little bit about what you're wanting to get into in the near future.
I'm Josh Rosen, quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, my first year. Went to UCLA for 3 years. Basically trying to finish the season with a couple more wins and going back to school this offseason.
Mike?
Yeah, so I'm Michael Morelli, and I started a supplement business, online training. We do custom meal plans 6 years ago from my mom's basement. After a really rough transition, bankruptcy, divorce, ex-addict, we could dig into that a little bit. I had a personal transformation that allowed me to jump into Instagram, the digital world, and share my story. And now we've got a couple of different supplement lines, full line. We do a number of different things in the wellness space. And for me, it's scaling to the next level. It's how can I change more lives? How can I impact more people? And we've got a great big old platform to do it on.
Okay, let's start there, Mike, because I love how you just kind of went into sharing some of the failures, which of course failure is part of success, and we'll talk about that with sports and business. Talk about how you first became an entrepreneur and how you started the business. I know you were in the retail space at first. Yep. Talk a little bit about that, how you got into it, and then where it went.
Yeah, so both my parents are entrepreneurs. At 9 years old, I was selling baseball cards at the Daytona flea market. Worked in my dad's business at 13 years old, started selling magic tricks at 15 years old, decided to go to school because my mom wanted me to go to school, ended up dropping out with 9 credits. So literally I've got 9 credits, double major and a minor in econ.
Both dropouts, my guy.
Yeah, right?
We'll talk about that too.
Pretty damn good for dropouts, hey? And so I had been that entrepreneurial spirit. I used, so instead of paying for tuition, my parents actually paid for tuition, and I used all my school loans and all my credit cards to start my first business in 2007. Yeah, cool. Leveraged everything that I had to start a business called Television Frenzies, which was what you said, retail. We sold all the pillows, the choppers, the gadgets. Remember the Snuggie?
The as seen on TV stuff?
As seen on TV. How many of you had a Snuggie? No Snuggies? Come on, man. All right, I had 3. And I had a Green Bay Packers one. Sorry, man. I'm a Packers fan. But it was the first year of those, so we were selling, thousands of them. And that led me to, more stores, 7 stores, e-commerce arm, Amazon. We drove about $5 million in revenue our best year. I had $500,000 worth of mall leases, and all of a sudden it was not so fun to come into my store because Walgreens, Walmart, Kmart started carrying it. They had a whole aisle. So Aunt Millie went to get her medication. She also got her Snuggie, and it wasn't fun to come to my store anymore. But I had all these mall leases, so I had to file bankruptcy. And at the time, I was doing a ton of cocaine. I was, girls, you name it, right? It was a period of time in my life that was certainly destructive.
Yeah. And what was the transition? What was the moment where you said, "Hey, no more of this"? There was a moment of transformation, because as I know you now, you're not that guy. Yeah. I mean, so what was the moment of transformation? 2
things. A good friend, one of my best friends, reminds me a lot about you, like you, because he's at peace. We talk about that a lot. He handed me a Bible with a reading schedule, and that, I was memorizing verses for a while. That led me to watching Andy Stanley at North Point online every Sunday. And then I found out I was going to be a dad.
Got it.
And so those 2 things in my past, and what my dad didn't do for me and what he did do for me, I didn't want to not be there for my daughter. And there was a monumental shift in my life during that transition.
Okay, so you're wiped out. You're bankrupt. You're, I'm sure, depressed. Yep. Anxious. What am I going to do next? It's a really interesting time as an entrepreneur, because I've gone through that same moment as well. So what do you do next? What got you started to where you are now? Because you're a very successful online entrepreneur. You're making a difference in the world, millions of followers. What was that? What did you do next?
After Bible, after realizing that I was going to be a dad, whether I wanted to or was ready for it or not, I remember carrying 2 bags of groceries up 2 flights of stairs, Kevin, and I was winded and out of breath. And at the time, I was about 190 pounds, 27% body fat. And that's what I attacked first. I didn't want to feel like that anymore. And so I started searching online for all different kinds of different diets, and the one that was logical was paleo. And so I started doing that a little bit, and I was dabbling, and then over 113 days, I got into really good shape. People started to notice. And that was as the bankruptcy was finally coming over. I had the transformation, and I'm like, and I'm knocking at my mom's door at 31 years old, like, I need a place to live. Yeah. She loves me, but it wasn't the most proud moment in my life, you know? Hey, Mom, I'm back, you know? And of course, she's not gonna say no because, you know, I'm her baby.
Yeah.
So.
And then you just started doing the fitness.
And then it was literally me, an iPhone, and my mom had, if you look at my first YouTube video back May 2013, like a TRX, a bench, a white wall, a Bosu ball, a couple of dumbbells, and I was making videos on YouTube back almost 6 years ago, May.
Yeah.
And just consistency.
Well, and the thing I love about this story is the resourcefulness and the stick-to-itiveness and the commitment, because what is it, 5 years later now? Yep. How many followers do you have approximately?
Across all the platforms, about 4 million.
Yeah, 4 million followers, people that trust you, people that spend money with you. I know you had a big Black Friday sale and a Cyber Monday sale, and you know now you're making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars throughout the year, helping people take their lives to the next level, all because of your fault.
All because of my fault.
How long did you have your head down and just work from asking your mom to move in versus asking your mom to move in and then working on your fitness stuff? At what point was that kind of an inflection point where you're almost like, hey, this might actually work? Like, how long were you kind of just working in the dark before you got to like, I might actually pull this off?
It was about a year. Yeah, it was about a year. I remember for an entire year I gave away an ebook called Fast Start Fat Loss. It was a diet book, like 50 pages, and I had nothing to sell. All I was doing was providing value on YouTube and on Instagram. And I basically said, hey, give me your email so I can stay in touch with you. Here's an ebook. And that ebook was transforming lives. We did like 300,000 downloads in a year. So now I've got this massive email list. I'm growing my social media. And a year later, I'm like, gosh, okay, so I launched my first product. In a week, we did 10 grand. I'm running into my fiance with my arms up. I remember like, we're gonna fucking do this! Like it's possible. Because prior to that, my mom's like, you can actually sell stuff online. I'm like, I think you can, that's what they're telling me. Because before then, I had no experience online. None, zero. So I remember running in and just like, she's like happy, excited, first 10K. Then 6 months later, I launched a product called Hit Max, which is a $30 digital. And in 12 months, I sold over 150,000 copies at $30.
This is great, because I want to ask you a question. I want to transition over to Josh. So talk about believing in yourself when no one else believes in you. Like, talk about leadership, because leadership always starts with I, yeah, and it leads to we. Yep. But talk about that, because it was a great transition there.
Yeah, it was a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. So like, your mom doesn't believe in you. You know, no one believes in you. Yeah. You have to believe in yourself. Talk about those moments.
Well, I don't necessarily know that I actually believed in myself in those moments, but I'll tell you what fuels my fire. What fuels my fire is, ever since I was a little boy, my dad would look at me and would point at me and he'd say, you never fucking be anything without me. He said that over and over and over again. It's ingrained since I was 9, 10 years old, at the flea market, working from him in front of a crowd of people. You're never gonna be anything without me, son. You're fucking never gonna be anything without me. Pointed at me. I mean, spit coming out of his mouth. So I don't know if at that time I believed, but I have always had something to fucking prove to my dad.
Got it.
And to this day, I've got that in my mind and I'm fucking pushing forward. Yeah. So is all the shit and the moments that I felt like he could have been there and wasn't there, he gave me that. He didn't even know he gave me that.
Yeah, it's a gift.
But he gave me that, and when my back's against the wall, I'm like, okay, all right, Dad.
I do have to say, it takes a pretty, I kind of feel pretty similar. It takes a pretty significant sense of humility to be able to say, sometimes I didn't believe in myself, but like, I think of everything very binarily, like black or white, yes or no. So like, when we're playing Texas A&M, for example, my first game of my junior year, we're down by 34. It's one of the most fun games I've ever had. We came back 35 points in like a quarter and a half. And people are like, oh, like, how'd you lead? How'd you keep fighting? Like, to be honest, I thought we were out, but like, it's yes or no. It's like, are you gonna quit or are you not? You don't have to fully invest and believe and go 100% and like blindly, you just have to work. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like, it doesn't change how you're going to go about it. So I think it takes a good sense of humility. By the way, you're a hell of a storyteller. But it takes a good amount of humility to accept the fact that maybe it's out of my hands, but I'm going to work my ass off regardless. And hopefully I just come out on the other side, because success, for the name of the podcast, success comes when I think hard work makes opportunity. And time again, there's a ton of hard work and it just doesn't meet opportunity.
Yeah, and I think what I hear too is like one step at a time. You know, you got the one step ahead of you. You can't think way in advance. So sometimes it's just that all I have is now, and all I can do is provide value to the best of my ability, and the results will be the results. And we'll deal with the results as they come.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
When you were going through kind of your tough time before you hit your level of success, what were the type of people that were surrounding you at that time versus now?
Oh, shit. Man, environment is huge. Huge. I mean, it was my drinking buddies, right? I mean, I hired all of my drinking buddies to work for me in that business. So like all of my friends worked at all the shops. My best friend at the time, Mike Westerdahl, who just died of an overdose literally 2 months ago at 37 years old. That could have been me, man. I got chills thinking about that. I mean, that could have been me. He's dead at 37 years old. I got the text message. I'm like, oh my God. I used to do cocaine with him every week, 3-4 times a week. He was running my warehouse. Now, you know, fast forward, look at the environment that I'm in now. I mean, I basically removed my family from what I thought was a destructive environment. Myself first and foremost. We came here like in 1 month. As soon as my fiance agreed, like my kids, the dog, everything, within a month, they were moving everything, and I just took my family and moved here because I knew how much we needed the environment. Right. And now I get to hang out with guys like Kevin, and I get to hang out with, you know, some amazing people.
So you consciously made a decision to separate yourself?
Purposely taking us from even my family, because a lot of my family's in Florida. Most of my family's in Wisconsin, but some's in Florida. My mom lives in Florida. We could have went to Florida. My brother, my mother, and my father are there. I said, nope. I'm very protective now also of the people that my kids hang around. And so for me, I came here when I had 2 other options with lots of family and lots of support. I came here.
So you're talking about environment, and Josh, you're working in what I would call the highest meritocracy maybe out in the world, right? The NFL. What's that like, and what's the importance of putting yourself in an environment of high achievers and people who will push you a little further?
I think in sports it's a bit unique. You really can't fully understand what I'm talking about until you're really in it, because you get a lot of unique, different kinds of personalities from all over the country, all over the world, and I think a lot of it just has to come from inside, because quarterback's just kind of a different position, and you really kind of live in your own little world. It's you, your quarterback coach, and your OC, and you operate from there. Everyone else are sort of like, they're your boys, like you're working out with them, all that stuff. You're in the same locker room and everything, but you have to be one of the guys. But at the same time, you're a little bit different. So it is about your environment, and it's great to be in a good environment, but that doesn't mean that you can remove yourself from a bad one. Like I'm lucky the Cardinals, we're losing a bunch of games right now, but we have a very good, positive team and a really, really tightly knit group of dudes. But I mean, I've had times in my career, my short career so far, with like high school, college, where we've had years where the environment hasn't been so great, and you can't just uproot and move somewhere else. You have to fix it, and that's where you have to. Self-motivated kind of sounds like a tacky word, but it is kind of self-motivated. You just have to like be consistent and keep on keeping on, and it's nothing more you do, it's what you don't do. You don't fragment, you don't complain, you don't this, you just keep doing your thing and lead by example. And you kind of try to force people on the bandwagon a little bit, but at a certain point it's kind of their own decision. And the NFL is very unique from college, where in NFL guys get cut, so if someone's an issue on the team, they're just gone. Where in college, guys are guaranteed 4-year scholarships. There are 100, 110 guys in a team. So sometimes if you have guys that aren't fully bought in or invested, you've got to learn how to deal with and manage those situations. So sports is a different beast when it comes to that kind of picking and choosing your environment, because get to.
Yeah, you're forced, so to speak, on a team. You're drafted, and like, okay, here's what you get to work with. It's not like you can uproot and go to God's country, or hey, I'm going to.
Well, and I was fortunate to be because I was fortunate where I went bankrupt, but then I had enough cash to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So I get that too. I mean, if you can't always, like, there's people that just don't have a choice.
But to entrepreneurs kind of looking up to you, that's why I asked you about the timeline, in the sense of how long did it take from you putting your head down to actually being like, oh, holy shit, this might actually work. Because I think a lot of people, when you blur the timeline and your life of maybe 20, 25, 30 years of hard work gets boiled down into a couple minutes of a story on a podcast, people forget that if you can cut off your drinking buddies and your friends, but it doesn't take like 2 or 3 months of being lonely for it to work out.
Right.
You probably hit a break at some point too, where it was a year. It very easily could have been 2 or 3. So I think sometimes, like, I was given unbelievably fortunate circumstances where for some reason people in this country value me throwing a leather ball. Like, that is a very fortunate circumstance. But and I got lucky very young, very early. Worked my ass off, but I met an opportunity. Whereas people lose that sense of that grind that has to occur in a very lonely basis for a very long time. And that's why I asked that question about time before.
I think the thing, right, is if there's somebody in a downward spiral, in a spot, find the momentum as fast as you can, no matter what it is, right? Progress equals happiness. If you're depressed and you're looking for happiness, then you've got to have progress somewhere, at some level. Otherwise, you're going to be depressed and miserable.
Well, I think it's also too, I always encourage people who are going through a rough time is focus on your physical fitness, your health, because you see and you feel those results immediately within a couple weeks, right? And that always kind of shows us, okay, if we set a goal and we work towards it, we can see it.
And that's the vehicle for me,
right?
Yeah. It's like, now we do so much more, but it's like, come on in, I'll help you drop a bunch of body fat. Come on in, I'll sell you a fat burner, but that's really a facade to come in, let me help you realize your full potential.
And so no matter how big the increment it is moving forwards, as long as it is an increment, that's all good. So as long as, I think the key word is momentum. As long as, doesn't matter how effective it is, as long as you turn that downward spiral into some kind of plateau. And then you, no matter how long it takes, stay in an upward momentum, I think is the key word you're talking about.
One of the things that I want, is it okay if I ask real quick? Sure. One of the things that I would love to know is mental resiliency as a quarterback, right? You screw up, you mess a pass up, you gotta go in, like, it's second down. Like, for me, walk me through that resiliency, because I have to have a certain level of mental resiliency, but I can't picture it the way that you have to do it. And so how do you just pick up and it's like, all right, man, I gotta shake that off and throw another ball?
I think there are kind of 2 phases, and it's a little bit easier in game than it is over the course of a season. Or, I mean, like, we played the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau, and it was I think second, and it's tied at 17, second and like 20 something, whatever. Center rolls the ball back, ball's absolutely soaked and wet. Pick it up, running around to the right, and no one's open. I'm trying to throw it away. It slips out of my hand a little bit and comes back inside, and literally it's the most easy game-ending pick that could have possibly happened. Whatever, like 3rd and 25 on our own, like, I don't know, 15-yard line, there's no shot, whatever. So rolling around, end up chucking it down to Larry. He makes a great play. So in those little incremental senses, I think it's a little easier because you're so in the moment, you're just moving, you're moving. And I think it's harder to kind of reverse the momentum over a long period of time. So like if something poor happens in business, it's almost like trying to turn around kind of a multi-game skid. In the moment, kind of when I'm in the zone, I'm just going. Like anything that happens bad, I'm fine. Like I don't know, but it's kind of hard to explain because it just kind of is a part of me.
Has it always been a part of you though, right? Because a lot of people find themselves wanting to grow but not realizing that they are growing simply by the ability to dissolve the past faster.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just kind of one of my personal mottos is fuck it, why not? So like if you have 2 options, either do the good thing or the bad thing. I will not do the bad thing, therefore I will do the good thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it might be rough, it might be hard, but I don't think there's really any secret sauce to it. It's just get over it, figure it out. Like, I throw a bad pass, it's like...
Yeah, you make it sound easy, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean...
That's probably why you're playing at the level you're playing at.
But I think with a lot of these sort of, like, higher level questions that people want answers to, I don't really think there is an answer. I think you just do it, and no matter how hard it is, you just... Like, it's a very difficult concept. And the reason the question gets asked so often is because there is no quick fix answer to it. You just keep going, keep grinding, you figure it out, and you just try and just get over it as quick as possible. Like, I opened the Denver Broncos game, my first primetime game ever in Thursday Night Football against Denver, the pick six, first play of the game. Yeah, and you're like, oh, well, the whole country just saw that. I ended up having 2 more interceptions. One was almost another pick six. No, 2 pick sixes, a third pick, 2 fumbles. Got strip sacked by Von Miller twice. Another that's third time actually, but they recovered it. So, but that happens, and you're like, hey, whatever. Like, I look like an idiot on TV, but we'll figure it out. We'll regroup and keep pushing forward. So I don't think there's as much as a secret sauce to it as I think you need to.
It's habitual now for you, though. It's habitual, and it's because you've been so disciplined for so long that you're allowed that.
You can't feel sorry for yourself.
Well, I've heard someone say it's one of the secrets of success is to have a short memory and a long vision, right? Like, so if you forget, like, if you're a receiver, you drop a pass, you got to forget it and then get on to the next play. Let's talk, because this is about success at success. So there's one thing performing on the field or performing in business. And there's another thing about living a high-quality life. So, Josh, I guess we'll start with you. Like, how do you unplug? I mean, you're a superstar. You're one of 32 quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks in the NFL. There's a lot of, focus on you, a lot of responsibility. How do you unplug and enjoy life? Or what do you do? What strategies do you have to live a fulfilled life?
There's actually something I'm in the process of figuring out, because my life has been football and school up to this point. I actually took school very seriously when I was at UCLA, so I was either like playing football, working out, doing whatever, or school, or maybe sneak a night or two to go out in the week. And outside of those 3 things, that was kind of my life. And you're given a lot of this free time now, and you kind of have to, as a football player, not just take care of your body, but kind of your whole mind and spirit and all that. And I'm in the process of figuring that out. I'm trying to sort of find hobbies, and I'm trying to read. And basically, right now, what I'm trying to learn as much as I can about as many things as I can and see what interests me. I'm trying to read as many books as I can. I'm trying to just learn. That's why I'm on this podcast, to try and just see how podcasts work and see if it's something I'd like and get into. So hopefully I'll come back in a year or two with a better answer.
Yeah, no, it's good for you. Yeah, I mean, when you're 20, what are you, 21, 22? Yeah, 21 years old. A whole life ahead of you. So there's so many different avenues to go. I always, I counsel and coach young men, and I say your 20s are your most difficult, because you don't know what you like and you don't know what you don't like. So you got to try a lot of things, and you got to fail, and you got to go through times like you discussed, and you're like, okay, well, now I know. Your 30s are a little bit easier, because now you know what you like, you know what you're good at, and you can kind of sort of fine tune. And then your 40s, which now I'm in my 40s, it's a lot of fun for me. Mike, we texted this weekend. You said, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. I was unplugged. Talk about how you are able to kind of nurture your family, your spirit, your mind by unplugging, and what you did this weekend, maybe.
Yeah. So before I mention that, I'm a lot like Josh is when it comes to learning how to disconnect and how to find other things to love outside of my family and the work that I do, because those 2 things do take up a lot of my time, and I actually love both of those things. So, I like to read a lot, I like to learn, I like to grow. I crave the growth that comes from learning new things, but more importantly, the growth that actually comes after learning and as a result of teaching new things. I love to teach. And so I'm great by myself. Listening to The Untethered Soul or Fuck Your Feelings is one that, as you were talking, I'm like, you don't need to read that book. You're great. But I'm reading Fuck Your Feelings right now. So just being able to connect to nature and really download the things that I think are going to help me learn and teach. But going back to what you said, I was Black Friday and Cyber Monday is the biggest 4 days of every single year. And so for 4 days, that's 18 to 20 hours. So, you're talking about 80 to 90 hours in a matter of 4 or 5 days, and that takes me away from my family. which you know is very important to me. And so I promised them, I said, okay, I've got to do this. I said, Dada's got to do this for the next 4 days. He's going to be gone. I said, but we're going to go to Sedona, and he's going to come off of his phone, and we're going to go on the Jeep tours and do the things. And so I was able to disconnect, and it's amazing. I mean, being able to do that, especially in Sedona, I mean, gosh, it's just unbelievable. But I'm always looking for an opportunity to connect deeper spiritually. You know, for me, it's always like, you know, how can I become more aware? How can I become more conscious? How can I peel back the layers of consciousness, connect deeper so that I can share my gifts?
Yeah, I mean, because it's interesting because they say we're in the most connected time in the history of the world because of social media and because of phones. And then oftentimes we're also suffering from the loneliest culture in the world because people aren't really actually connecting deeply. So,
yeah, I mean, I remember listening to a Rogan podcast talking about, he had some doctor that was like focused on depression and stuff like that, was talking about how all these troops and that went over to Vietnam and did opiates and heroin and all that stuff. A lot of them came back, and some of them just dropped it, no issue, and just went back to their normal lives. And then some of them actually had legitimate issues, because sometimes there's an argument to be made that the issue isn't within the drug, it's within people missing that sort of primitive instinct to belong, sort of kinship. And I mean, maybe you can speak to it, but I think it'd be easier to drop a habit or anything that's more destructive in your life if you have a purpose and a community to belong to and all that stuff. So yeah, I thought that's kind of, maybe you could speak more to that, but I think you need sort of a belonging and emotional connection, regardless of how many friends and followers.
You know, I always tell, especially young men, everyone, but young women as well, but young men, find a team that you feel like you belong in. And so when I first moved here, I got involved in a men's Bible study, and it was with a bunch of NBA and NFL athletes, you know, so it was like men who were, you know, playing a big game, but also interested in exploring spirituality. And so plugging into that team's always been helpful for me. So yeah, looking for those outlets, unplugging, putting the phone down, getting off social media, you know, and I know that's your business, so it's often very difficult to unplug. So talk about some of the personal development things and some of the differences you make and some of the value you provide.
Yeah, well, what I'm, you know, as I peel back the layers, you know, it's really great to sell supplements and to, you know, to make a bunch of money. I think money is, you know, offers great freedom, but I'm still empty when I sell a bottle of protein, right? What really lights my fire is being able to help people you know, like, it's so funny because I know people by name in my group realize their full potential. One of them, Justin, you know, he's so on fire, and he's reading and he's protecting his first hour, doing everything that I tell him to do, and now he's bringing, he is a CFO and a vice president of an insurance group. He's bringing all 200 people into my program, you know, so like that is like, and now I'll get on a screen and I'll go live for their entire office, and we'll spend 15 to 20 minutes once a week really helping them, you know, with productivity and better routines, and so for me, like, that's the stuff that lights me up.
One other thing I want to discuss, because with Josh is the quarterback and he knows his position, and it's clear what his position is. You and I discussed a while back about knowing your position and what your skill set is. You know, so talk about, you know, because you're a creator and a star because you're the front of the company, but talk about being a creator and knowing your skill and knowing your purpose so that you can partner with the right people to create your own team.
You know, it's over 6 years, right? You're learning and you're growing, and initially you have to do everything, right? I mean, I edited all my videos, I sent out all my emails, I built sites. I did everything. And then as you go, you know, you bring in cash flow and profit, and you hire the first person, the second person, the third person, and most of the time that first group of hires you're really not aware of, okay, well, yeah, this person is taking this because I suck at it or I don't like it. This person is going to take this because I really suck at that and I don't like that. So you're not really in it thinking through it. You're just like, oh, I need a customer service person. Oh, I need this person. Oh, I need somebody to edit. And then, you know, over 6 years, you start to look back and you start to look for spots that you thrive in, like that you just want to be in because you're in that state of flow. And for me, that's sharing, that's creating. And anytime I'm pulled from creation or I'm pulled from sharing, there's that resistance, there's that friction, right? So I'm always assessing what I'm really, really good at, and what I really suck at. It's really important to be honest. Yeah. Because start to offload the things that you suck at. Because if you spend time on the things that you suck at, your gifts, your true gifts, don't get the attention or merit that they deserve. And how can you be great, right? If you're focused on everything.
Why do you think we have a running back?
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I was going to ask you, so
Just
like,
give it to the other guy.
right, exactly. And that's a great analogy because business and sports, I just love the analogies because you have to have the right people in the right position. So Josh, how did you become a great quarterback? Is that something that you knew or did you develop or how did that come about?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, all this stuff kind of happened by accident. I've always been like a very competitive athlete. I work very hard and always have. I mean, originally got down the tennis train early in life. Then like middle school, I was kind of facing the homeschool decision, maybe not go to college, all that stuff, and ended up switching over to team sport, a bunch of different reasons. But and then was just playing for fun in high school and kind of got a scholarship. End of my freshman year playing for JV at Fresno State and took another year to get another scholarship and I started to roll in. I always thought I was going to go back east to go to an Ivy League or something, follow my parents' footsteps and stuff. But football kind of grabbed a hold of me and didn't let go, and I embraced it and kind of rode the wave and I mean, fell in love with it, and I'm going to push this thing as far as I can go, but I'm also going to understand that it is an endeavor that will not stay with me for the rest of my life, that you definitely you need to use it like it uses you. I mean, it'll rip your body apart. It will, so you need to take from it just like it takes from you. And I'm going to try and use it and leverage it to speak to some unbelievable people and do some really cool things and hopefully make a positive difference in the world.
Cool. You mentioned Ivy League. So you come from, your parents were highly educated, Ivy League. Yeah.
My mom went to Princeton, dad went to Penn. My mom was played field hockey and was a captain of a lacrosse team. Skated, figure skater throughout. And my dad was the real serious figure skater. I think he was like fourth in the qualifiers, so he was close to getting into the Olympics, but didn't. That's actually how my parents met. They were ice dancers together in New York. My dad went back for residency, so yeah, it's kind of a strange story, but ended up on the West Coast because my dad went to a medical school in San Diego. So went back to residency in New York, met my mom, and he said, I hate this weather, I'm going back out west. So yeah.
It's interesting because, right, I want to key on that because you talked about earlier about environment, about the people we surround ourselves. Our parents are such big influences on us, and you even spoke about your father, like negative, positive, or whatever you can pull from it. Like, I think it's really important, like, you know, you're a world-class athlete, but you come from sort of a pedigree or parents, and is that, do you think that's just from expectation from being in that environment? Do you think did your parents push you extra hard, or was it just, hey, my parents did this so I can do it too?
My parents, I'm forever grateful for how they raised me. I'll raise my kids very similarly, and they were very hands-off. They let me do my thing. Whatever avenue I wanted to go down there. Like, my parents aren't football. Like, when we always going through the recruiting process and all that stuff, they were like, okay, like they did not know how this thing works. Like, they were used to going on the college tour junior year or whatever. But I'm very grateful for how they raised me, and kind of anything that I've wanted to do, they've sort of just been rooting me on. I'm lucky to have the resources, or have grown up with the resources to sort of pursue any activity I've wanted to. But I mean, like I said, this has just kind of been a fun adventure I've been going on with my parents, and we'll see where it ends.
That's great. I mean, kind of wrapping this up here, what's next? Like, what's next for you, Josh, Mike? What's next for you? What are your plans for the future? I don't know, year, 2 year, 3 years out. You know, it's going to be different, but yeah. What do you see, and what do you kind of hope for the future?
Yeah. I know one thing. I don't know what products, programs, and services I'm going to sell. Although I do know whatever my name is on will be the best. What I do know is I know one thing, and that is if I take care of my community and I pour back into that community and I share and I love and I lead them, that they're going to take care of me. And so my whole goal is to just pour love into that group, is to change as many lives as I can and let the rest take care of itself.
That's great.
I'm looking forward to first off season of football ever, because college we go through for 47, 48 weeks straight out of the year, all year, school, all that. So I haven't really had a break in a very long time. I'm trying to finish the season out strong, go back to school, just kind of get a breath of fresh air, regroup, regather, and kind of get ready how to attack the next year. I mean, I want to get involved in some stuff off the field, just learn and kind of experience some new stuff. And I think I might get involved in the state legislature here and try and help pass some criminal justice reform legislation. It's just, I'm kind of curious by the political space. I think it kind of hits home to Arizona specifically with the old sheriff that was here. I feel very passionately for the environment. I'm wearing cleats this Sunday for My Cleats, My Cause. My cause is climate change and clean oceans. And so just trying to experience a bunch of different things and go back to school and learn a bit, and then start getting ready after a couple months off for a hopefully much more successful sophomore campaign.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. I love the idea of going into politics and the cause. That's really great. And what are you studying in school?
Economics.
Economics, great.
There's a couple things I want to kind of tap on with you, and one's obviously the NCAA players getting paid. You wrote an awesome article earlier this year that I think a lot of people should read. We'll throw it up on a link on this, but what got you to the point of having the stance that you took with it, and why did you decide to speak out about it?
I mean, I grew up in a pretty white, wealthy suburban neighborhood in California, and one of the reasons I'm so grateful for football is because it's sort of opened my eyes to how different people from different communities live and grew up. I mean, we'd had dudes on our team that were sending, we got if you moved off campus, you got $1,800 a month to sort of live your life and everything, and guys were cutting that in half, sending the rest home, and sleeping in the team room and using the rest of their money to sleeping in our nap room, wherever it is, our lounge, and using the rest to figure out food. A lot of guys are working multiple jobs. I just saw a different kind of side of the sort of, I don't know how to put this, the exploitation, just in the sense of these guys who are on the field and putting their bodies on the line and not getting anything in return other than an education that they won't even know how to use anyways, because they really didn't go to classes. They weren't really taught how to learn to go to school. They were just kind of made eligible, and then NFL doesn't work out for you, you're done. Hopefully you have a diploma. And then you don't even have any work experience, because if you can't get any internships in the summer, because you have to be if you want your scholarship check for the summer and pay for rent, you have to be in there working out and enroll to classes at the same time. So you can't do internships, can't do this, can't do that, so you don't even know what you want to do. You leave college, you got no money, you hopefully have a diploma, not really many skills you've developed, and they're just all right, have fun, do your thing. So, I could go into it for hours, but that opened my eyes in the sense that it just needs to be discussed and talked about. And I think the most bullshit excuse in the world is we shouldn't do anything because people are saying what's a better way? What's a better way? And you're I don't know, I just know this way sucks. So let's figure something out. And that's why I put out this proposal, not because I think it's the way, I just think it's something. It starts discussion. Yeah, it starts, talk about it, whatever. You can't say, my idea sucks, but you don't have a better one, so we're gonna keep, let's acknowledge an issue, let's work together and try to make it a better one, and that's kind of how things get better, and it benefits a very few select individuals who are very accusatory in there's no better way because you don't have one. You're I don't know, it's very frustrating. I don't really know how to sort of go about changing it legitimately, but I'm trying. I'm trying to learn, figure it out, and we'll see. It's definitely something I care about long term. I'm just trying to kind of find a way to attack the whole situation.
And the layers of issues with it, I think, still aren't being common knowledge. Just trying to get interns from college and stuff. When I first started Athletes Brand, one of my goals was I wanted to be able to help college players try to figure out what they wanted to do. And also get kind of advice and experience in business and these other areas that we weren't taught as college athletes, and use that with Athletes Brand. Have kids come in and learn different things that they're not able to learn at school. And an issue that I ran into was being an athletic apparel brand. It's what the NCAA looked at us as. You can't go intern for a company like ours because they're considering it a Nike or an Adidas or a potential sponsor. So you've got college athletes that you can't go take an internship like that because you're breaching the agreement that you go into, and B, you can't play unless you sign this agreement to go into. Like, I still remember going and sitting down for, like, I don't know how you guys did it, but we sat in a conference room and somebody from the school compliance went through this 5-6 page sheet of all the rules that you can't do, and it was briefly glanced through. Hey guys, sign it once you're done reading it, and you can't play if you don't sign it.
I mean, part of it, I mean, you can't do, I think like the student body president is allowed like some sort of salary from the university that so the student president, but like a part of sort of growing up and going to college is like getting mentors and talk with them and learning things, and like if I would say it's safe to say like almost 99% of normal students that have some sort of healthy mentor work relationship would have broken rules if they were athletes, because their mentor took them to lunch and and wanted to talk about potential internship opportunities, or wanted to take them to an event because they had some company event and wanted to show some kid what it was like, yada yada. And those are all violations. So like, you're not like, I'm okay if you keep the student athlete model. If you really want to stick to that word, which I think is complete horseshit, whatever, do your thing. But if you want to stick to that, at least help the kid learn something. And like, don't just, I was told I literally couldn't take one of my economics classes because it conflicted, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but it literally conflicted with like 2 spring ball practices. And they said, no, you can't take it. So that's why like my timeline is set back about 2 classes because it messed up my prerequisite. So it's like, there are a lot of these little dumb loopholes, like if there's a conflict between school and football, or school and sport, the school has to come first. Okay, so when you're scheduling your classes, they just make sure there are no conflicts, so that you're not allowed to take a class you're only allowed to take classes between 10 or 11 a.m. and like 4 p.m. So they just basically get around that rule by not allowing a conflict to happen. So like, they basically, like when I was going through the process, it's almost like you don't really realize it until you're out of it, what like kind of went on. So it's really hard to kind of stick up and stand up for yourself when you have like coaches, teachers, or not even teachers, but coaches and academic whatevers that are sort of guiding you in a direction that you don't realize that you didn't want to go down it until 3 or 4 years down the road. You're like, wait, I have a major in like political science, like why? When did I pick this?
I love your stand. I love the stand you're taking, and I love the courage you have to speak out about it. This is something I've seen over the last 20, 30 years with athletes, and the highest paid state employee are college coaches, and everyone's making money, from the vendor selling popcorn to everyone along the line. And I see these athletes, they get so excited, they have signing day for the college, and I'm like, but you're not getting paid, and everyone else is getting paid. So I absolutely love your stand. I love your courage. I love your voice too. So your idea of going into politics, just even what you said about let's start a discussion. Like, let's just discuss it. I don't claim to be the holier than thou who has the right answer, but let's discuss to get better answers.
That's what I hope I'm not, like, I hope I don't say anything that gets me in trouble in this thing, but like the issue is that if I did say something that would get me in trouble, I would just get in trouble. I would love for the person that, like, I would love for Mark Emmert, or I would love for someone who disagrees with me to discuss and talk about this and how to make it collectively better, because there obviously is an issue on either end. One side is unhappy, and the other side is unhappy, so like, I don't care where the solution is. All we know is it's not a perfect system. You'll never find a perfect system, but all you can do is get as close as you possibly can to it, and let's try and figure something out. And like, yeah, it's very frustrating. I get worked up about it all the time, because it's a very, like, I get frustrated that like, if I was in some of my teammates' shoes with the same exact skill set that I have, I feel like there's a good shot I wouldn't be here. And that gets lost upon a lot of people, that I was very fortunate that I got to take advantage of the opportunities that were given to me. A lot of kids can't even take advantages of very fruitful opportunities that are right in front of their faces. And it's sad, and I hope people that are fortunate in life, even if they work their ass off, realize that for every like one that made it. There are a ton of others that are almost overly qualified. Like there are people that have worked way harder than me that I would like literally worked with on the team. They're talented, all this stuff, but for some reason, one or another, whether it be family, whether it be this, that, or whatever, it didn't work out. And I think like trying to address, even just on the NCAA level, trying to address it all with one broad brushstroke of we're giving them education. That's like, it's complete horseshit.
Yeah, I love it. Your approach is spectacular because it's solution focused and it's wide open, and it's just, hey, let's just speak about what's there. Let's get down to the truth to make it an equitable solution for everyone, right? And I really appreciate and commend you, and I hope you continue to sort of, pursue this to your best ability if it makes sense. But I think it's because this is just one issue. I mean, there's issues throughout culture, throughout the world, throughout society, throughout business, that if you approach it this way, it can be very powerful. Taking a stand and then having the courage to use your voice to reinforce that stand. And guess what? Obstacles come, challenges come. But if you have the stand and you're standing strong in truth, I mean, everyone's going to win.
You don't even have to stand strong. You just have to stand.
Right.
I really enjoy speaking with all different kinds of people because I constantly want to form my opinion and revamp it and all this stuff and learn about a bunch of different things. Like my proposal I put out, I don't even agree with it 100%. I just it preserves the student athlete model basically in a one big summary. It basically creates an NCAA a clearinghouse that is a third-party marketer that players can sign into. That the NCAA changes the loophole, says you're allowed to release your name and likeness to profit if you through this independent third party, and it basically breaks up individual and group licensing deals to give the NCAA a cut, which they don't deserve, but to incentivize them to at least sign into it. It would give the NCAA a cut, the universities a cut, a non-scholarship fund a cut, the players a cut, the individual player and the group player pool, whether it be for trading cards or jersey deals or an individual deal someone wants to do. So it's like I think it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good system. So there's this, you don't get your money until it puts in a post-grad trust fund. You get 8 years, I think it's 8 years from your initial start date to graduate in order to access that fund. So you do cool things like, since that money's gonna be sitting there for a little bit, we can say, okay, Fidelity, if you wanna manage this money, you have to go around to 128 of the FBS schools and give financial literacy classes to all of these kids. So there are a lot of cool little things you can do about it. But what I'm trying to say is I'm not opposed to changing this thing. I'm just trying to give something to the table. You don't have to take a stance and defend it till all hell. Just take a stance so there is one more stance in the collective idea circle.
Well, it's clear you're thinking. There's the phrase chess, not checkers. And you're thinking long-term, long-term solution for the athlete for years to come.
I'm just thinking, period. Yeah. I encourage thinking.
It's great, man. It's really great. Well, and the thing that needs to be clear, too, is you enjoyed your time at UCLA, and you enjoyed your time as a college football player, and from what it sounds like, you loved the school you went to. Absolutely. So it's not an athlete that's taken a stance that is just anti-NCAA, anti-college football,
let me put it this way. The system was built for me. The system was built for people like me. The system was built for people who have a stable family life, value education. Sports was not the primary focus of life since day one. I can take advantage of both opportunities. My parents raised me to understand the education system. I have this UCLA, hopefully will get this UCLA degree, do football, transition, the system was built for me. But I am not a majority of people in this system, so I am trying to fight for those who the system leaves behind. Because people in my system, people in my situation, if this system wasn't working for me, I'll be just okay. I'll be A-okay. But the people who it's not working for right now, they have no other options. I have other options. So the system should represent and help a majority of any system should help the majority, because that's kind of what systems and governing bodies are built to do, or represent a majority of the people. That's why voting is a thing.
you're the right person to be speaking out on. It's interesting because you're taking this topic and now you're also talking about getting involved in politics, and it sounds like very, very cross-forming places to be and an awesome spot to start your career as an NFL player. Do you see after football politics being an option?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't want to be in politics. I would love if this like new House the new these like freshmen. I think they call them like these freshman representatives that went in. Like it's the most diverse group of people. I bet a ton of those, the new diverse first-time politicians, whatever, would love to not have to step into the arena because of the direction that this country is heading. I would love to not step into it, but I feel like there's just sort of a void of leadership from the athlete perspective, especially the white athlete perspective, that maybe needs to stand up for some minority populations. Like LeBron James is one of my heroes. He's doing an unbelievable job. And I think we need more of that. I mean, I don't really want to go into politics. I just want to help people, and you kind of have to make a calculation in your head, like what avenue of life, or what avenue do I have to go into help the most people? And if politics is that, then I may go into politics. But if I would love to use my economics background and get into finance and sort of pull strings more so. But I mean, I don't know, I'm 21, I don't know shit. I haven't graduated. I mean, I'm trying to use big words and sound smart, but I mean, for the most part, I don't really know what the hell's going on. I'm just trying to learn. I have a goal without a process. I'm trying to figure out the process. I want to help people and do good in the world, but that process it's not going to figure itself out, but I'll work on it.
Yeah, I think part of it, sometimes people go deep. Oh, you got to know your purpose, you got to know your purpose. I'm like, well, maybe. That's great if you know your purpose. I don't think most people do, but if you pick a direction, and like we said earlier, step by step, play by play, there's going to be all kinds of strategic byproducts and things that come in that'll change your direction. But if you pick a direction and go that way, you're going to make a difference. It's really good.
I talk about it all the time. I mean, I didn't decide that my purpose was to be a personal trainer and to help people get healthy. You know what I mean? Like, I had a personal transformation because of an experience I decided to have, and then I continue to have experiences as I do now, and I just share through those experiences. And that purpose found me.
And now you're a major person of influence.
Is the most rewarding part of your career not every time someone comes to you with a personal story, like, you changed my life, this was awesome, yada yada? Like,
that's oxygen.
Yeah, it's the most rewarding part of. I couldn't even imagine.
Oh my gosh! And the best part is that now the impact is so strong that their kids' lives are changed. I mean, we've got kids that are now seriously impacted because of the choices that their mom and dad are making. Now, when I can hit when I can hit that's the one where it's like, okay, hairs are standing up on the arm, just.
Yeah, you see those personal testimonials. I mean, I see them all the time for you.
Technology is crazy because you can affect someone's life directly without even directly initiating the contact. Like, the social media allows that web to go in all different kinds of directions, and it's almost like there's an entire separate population of people that you just haven't even come into contact with yet, that are so grateful that you're in their lives, but you haven't even met them yet. And I think that's a pretty cool. That's the upside to the social media and internet culture that everyone loves to beat on.
Yeah, well, I think there's years ago, I was in my office and I had a handful of thank you notes, handwritten thank you notes. And I was like, wow, this feels amazing. I made an influence in these people's lives, and I set a goal for myself. I said, what if I were to set a goal to collect 1 million thank you notes in my life? Like, what kind of person would I have to become? What would I have to do? What kind of qualities would I have to take on? So then you go out and study the people who changed the world. Like, okay, if I became a little bit like them. And then I gave a talk at an event where it was, what are thank you notes? Well, what's money? Well, money is simply thank you notes. For the service, people buy the things from you because they're saying, thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking the risk. Thank you for putting your body and your life on the line out on the football field. Thank you. So that becomes money. And so then I look for thank you notes and I look for money, because money is the way for people to say thank you to me who don't write thank you notes.
Yeah, it's nice when you can line up goodwill and money.
That's right. I want to segue back to you bringing up social media. So that's the other thing that I wanted to touch on between the two of you, because that's what I work in, is helping athletes try to figure out how to best leverage their own personal skills, their own personal life story, that sort of stuff, and be able to make the biggest impact with it. And an issue that I constantly run into, especially in baseball, is players not wanting to get on social media. And I understand both sides of it. But I also understand this amazing opportunity for a professional athlete, who I really believe athletes are the most influential profession in the world. You have an opportunity to connect with youth who their minds are molding, and not only be able to connect with them then, but throughout their entire lives. And when you have players like the biggest player on the Diamondbacks and a bunch of other professional athletes that don't want to use social media because they either don't have the time or they don't want to put out the risk, what would both of you guys kind of give advice on as far as how to leverage that platform for both your personal legacy goal and also personal benefit for your charities? I know guys like Paul Goldschmidt, he's extremely philanthropic. He doesn't like the spotlight. He doesn't like the attention for it, and 100% respect that. But there's a lot of athletes that could really make a 10x impact if they did leverage social media for their cause or for their purpose or whatever it was that they really wanted to make an impact on throughout their life.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I mean, it doesn't have to be for everybody. There's a certain person that, like you just said, it sounds like that guy likes to do his work and he likes to do the face-to-face stuff, but doesn't like to put it all out there. It's completely changed my life. I mean, I don't know where I would be today without social media. It's allowed me to amass a great big community, and it's allowed me to impact. So I definitely can't see my world without it. I think for the people that are a little bit afraid, those probably are the people that haven't navigated it and are seeing it as more of a, oh my gosh, I'm going to count likes and comments and it's going to be this sort of popularity contest. I think it's an opportunity for athletes to share their story. Right? Great, you're in the major league and you're hitting 300. That's awesome. But tell me, as a guy following you, I want to know how you develop those skills. So take me back 10 years, take me back 15 years, start to share that story. And I think, the people who win online are the people that tell stories and are good at it. But again, it has to be for that person, I
think for athletes, it's risk reward. I think your life is your company sort of its basis is online. Ours is on the field and in the sporting arena. So from day one in college, we were told, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, because you can go up, but you're mitigating complete downside by not even being on it. So you will add to the pie by being on it, but you're only introducing risk that was non-existent before.
So give me an example of like a risk that you see.
A risk is someone like hacking into your account and some people they'll get their accounts hacked and get extorted for money, or else they'll post bad stuff. You could accidentally make a typo of like something. You could say something that you thought was funny that people didn't think was funny. Like, it takes effort to be fair, not much. That's why I am on it. But just for the argument's sake of not being on it, it's because it's not their primary endeavor. So it's something secondary that you need to be convinced of. And I think you build the positive arena around it, or aura around it, by over time helping the entire foundation of athletes on social media. So I think the more people that do it, the more people do it well, the more the people that aren't on it are like, okay, this is a cool thing. Or the more people that mess up, it scares away.
Well, and the other thing too is as a high performing athlete, right? You're held on a pedestal, right? It's like, so you show a fucking, a pimple on your fucking forehead, and it's like.
Well, and you also got to build your social media from the ground up, so you made mistakes when you only had a couple hundred followers, and you moved on. We start immediately from the big leagues. Unless you've been on it from day one, this Diamondbacks, whatever, he's probably scared of the following that he would have. So I don't agree with him, but I understand his concern, because I kind of have similar. That's like, I don't really use it that much, just because I don't like using my phone. I just like kind of doing my thing or whatever. So I think it's almost easiest to tell athletes to, like, I don't know, hire a social guy and tell them to build a fan page. And then maybe if you want to get into the personal side, you can go into that. But I think you have to respect, convince and respect and push all at the same time, the opinions or the feelings of people that just don't want to get in trouble. Like, it's okay to want to be in your bubble and everything, but like, maybe you have to encourage and teach someone who's philanthropically inspired, be like, hey, I understand your concerns, but if you care about this more than you care about your concerns, maybe this is an avenue that you want to take. But it's going to take the entire opinion of social media to continue to move in a positive direction, because I think it is moving in a positive direction, but just maybe not enough for some people, and it's a mathematical calculation in their head of risk versus reward.
I'm a big believer because you look at guys like Antonio Brown and Von Miller, who they've got their own social media guys. So guys that follow them around, take pictures, post videos, edit this stuff, get great content out, and that's created Old Spice commercials. That's created Head and Shoulders. That's created all these opportunities that may not have existed beforehand. And also looking at Von, he's created a persona. He's got his glasses. He's got his cowboy hat. Like, he's created a character, and that's what's creating a brand for Von Miller, who might not have been this superstar athlete. Honestly, he could be mediocre right now, and I really think that he would still be one of the biggest stars in the NFL. And so when I'm looking at that, and
I can tell you he definitely whooped my ass when we played him.
he's definitely not mediocre. No, he's not mediocre. But if you look at guys like that, and then guys like, and I'm not picking on Paul, but he's one of the biggest stars in baseball. Well, he's one of the best players in baseball that should be one of the biggest stars in baseball, but he's not. He's an all-star every year, yet I'd say half of baseball fans might not even know who Paul Goldschmidt plays for.
What does he value? Does he value recognition? Does he want to be recognized? So how would your line of interest and his line up in a way that social media would make sense? Is he philanthropically inspired? Is that what you're saying? So I think that's the line of interest where you need to like lay it out in that's because being as popular as Von Miller doesn't really matter to him. He doesn't care, and like you toot whatever horn you want to, whatever. But if that's how he is inspired, you can like show him like hard data on how someone like I don't know, Chris Long and his Waterboys Foundation is doing very well on social media. Like the interests need to line up, because some people don't care about what Von Miller care about. Some people don't care what I care about. So it's sort of kind of a collective effort.
Love that. Yeah, good insight for sure.
Yep. Awesome, man. You guys have any questions?
No, just get me. Yeah, no, it was great. I'm a fan, man. I don't watch a lot of football, but I'm gonna watch you. Yeah.
Josh,
absolutely.
I've got one more thing. So you're going into your first NFL offseason, right? What kind of business advice have you received so far as how to handle this upcoming season, endorsement deals, anything like that?
I mean, I haven't really gotten advice directly, but I think the one theme that I'm trying to stay constant with is I want to align myself. I'm very authentic. That's my thing is I'm going to be me. So I want to align myself with companies that think similarly to the way I think. The reason I signed with Adidas is because they had this partnership with Parlay. It was the cleats that I'm wearing this Sunday and are with the painting, but the cleats themselves I've been wearing the whole year are made out of upcycled ocean plastic. So about I think 9 water bottles a pop for each cleat, and it's not making that significant impact, but it's the inspiration and the idea, and I want to align myself with companies that are in goodwill and think how I think and have good people, and I haven't really been directly given the advice. It's almost advice I'm giving myself. Is my advice right now to my future self is don't change, be you, do your thing.
Amen, brother.
So I'm trying to be as authentic as possible, and maybe that's why I got a little bit of trouble at UCLA. Dropped in the draft a little bit, maybe because I said some things I shouldn't. But I'm here now. I think the Arizona Cardinals like me, but I'm gonna be me, and I hope that pays off because I'm confident in who I am. I'm not really scared to put myself out there because I don't really have any skeletons in the closet. I'm not worried about a part of me showing that I'm trying to hide. My parents raised me well. I think I've got good values, and I think that I got nothing to hide, so why hide it?
Love that. It's gonna take you a long ways.
I have to say I'm inspired by both of you guys. Good to know you a little bit more, brother. Josh, spectacular, man. Just love what you're standing for. Love that you're you're playing at the level you're playing, and it's going to be cool to watch.
I don't really know if I like the level I'm playing at right now, but we'll get there. Forward momentum.
You're in the game, right?
We've won a game.
Up from here, yeah. I mean, you're playing at that level, which is exciting, and it's going to be fun to watch your career grow, your life, and everything. So, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. Awesome. Sweet. What are you kind of your next product, your next thing that you're diving into?
So I've got a couple meetings today that could go. I might merge with one of my products with an MLM company. They might swallow it up. They're the big guys behind are the minority owners of the Golden State Warriors, Jeff Harmon, and so I'm meeting with the guy, the face of the company, to see what happens there. For me, as far as my next product, I've got a NutriScribe business that we've talked about. I want to take down Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and those BS, very processed food systems, diet systems, with one called NutriScribe, which is whole foods, all perishable. Getting to a place where I design your meal plan, tell you exactly what to eat, when, and how much, but then ship you every single meal, every single snack, all labeled in your refrigerator. So there is no roadblock. I can't make it. There is no roadblock. It's not healthy, or I don't like it. Because I've been in this space for so long, I know the roadblocks. Like, I don't have time to cook the food. I don't know what to eat. So we've gotten to a place now where we can make like cheesecake with cashew cream. We take the dairy out, it's all vegan, it's all organic, it's all natural, and I can tell you how much to eat every single day and still drop body fat. So people don't know that they can have those treats and have those things and still drop body fat. And so it's our job to come in and educate them.
That's also one thing I think is such an unfortunate drawback of American society is, I even experience personally, is nutrition education and cooking, because like I tried to cook. It's like there's a steep learning curve. Yeah. Like I tried to get into it the summer of my sophomore year going to my junior year. Like, all right, this is my last year, I'm trying to eat healthy, I'm gonna do it. So I had this summer where I was working, I had a little more free time, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna get into it. It is a rough learning curve, and I think that has a lot to do with why our obesity rates are so ridiculous, is because people don't really understand what's going into their body. I mean, I think Japan has the lowest obesity rates in the world, and they also have the highest level of culinary education in elementary school. I would have loved to learn grade 1, 2, 3, 5 about how to cook. Like, that's a very legitimate life skill, and like what you want to put in your body and what you don't. And like if there's one thing I would have liked to learn at a young age, it's how to cook. And I think that society in general is losing that. I mean, like, from my environmental perspective, I'm thinking about how much trash is going into the ocean with all of these like plastic bags getting taken with Postmates and all that stuff. I think cooking is a lost art that I really wish I knew more about and understood.
Yeah. And Mike, where can people find you?
My Instagram is Morelli's World. Everybody get me there. I answer all my own messages. Every single day we're DMing 100 to 150, giving training plans and meal plans away for free just to help people get jump started. So I'm very active on that account, and I would love for your listeners to take me up on that offer. Come to the account, let me give you some things to help you take care of yourself, or at least to jumpstart that wellness process for you. And then who knows, you might like a couple of the things that I have to say. You might be around, and maybe I can impact your life too.
Morelli's World on Instagram.
Morelli's World on Instagram. Great. Yep.
My Instagram is @Josh3Rosen. I don't really have many inspirational messages or much cool stuff to give, but I try to make people laugh every now and then.
Guys, follow these two. The reason why we wanted to connect them was they're two of the most real people out there, and I think you're going to find a lot of authenticity, a lot of good value, a lot of inspirational opportunity by just kind of seeing who these two are. And so check them out and tune in next time. We've got Trevor Bauer and Lane Norton coming on the next podcast. Looking forward to seeing you guys all on the other side.